Ade suku kanurin tongortu.
Emi imboze gbara ina Sara State.
Ina alfahari da kasancewa Bahaushe.
Ni mi abuwa shangu ba me ware hubego.
Ami monyimu mamboko mi samide yiku ojiriwa zepo.
Me indi maleza kan dijirina. Ni puse adagan maleza.
Ni hada alfahari ikasanchago dun fulbe.
Mapa yala na agba wana gashi bubasa.
Ne musungirindire. Murukuma da ne kware lumengirindire.
Nasarawa people. Nasarawa people. Culture, origin, festivals, customs, and cuisine of the people.
Any society that has no culture, has no history, and that society, sooner or later, it will, you won't even hear of it again.
Culture is said to be the sum total of one's way of life and a people's way of life. And the Migili culture, very typical of Migili really, but I would say our culture is not one that we can say to be very proud of. But it was part of us, so we had no option but to be proud of it. I hope this idea is understood by whoever puts his sense right. Taking, for instance, our dressing code in those days was what made people avoided us. Because we dressed that way up to the 70s. And what was it? The male would just wear their bete and then plait their hair, put ornaments in the hair, and then put their small jacket, which was called shajibi. And to them that was good, and they lived it up to the 70s. But to the outside world, it wasn't good enough for them to relate with us. And people saw us as timid, uncivilized people by our culture in those days. However, we have a very good culture in terms of behavioral pattern, in terms of our food system, in terms of industry, in terms of worships, in terms of our beliefs. The only thing that put us against people was our dressing code.
Migili will have unique costume and the dress, the mood of our dress. That is in terms of cultural festivals. We have many kind of cultural. We have Itaradu, we have Paso, we have Leja, we have Okpa, we have Laga. Leja is a message, a messenger. They drum it. From here, it will reach about almost 20 kilometers before we hear it. Then we have Gidigbo. Gidigbo also is the same thing. It's just like a message. If you want to send message to people in the nearby villages, you will get them. Through that thing, they will drum it. And if they drum it, you know it's something that is happening. Then we have Era Laga. Era Laga specify when a lady died, somebody that has not married. When she died, it is women that they will perform that rite on the lady that died. That is Era Laga. Then we have Tiga. Tiga is cap, like this one I'm wearing. That is the cap, traditional cap. We have that of young men when they are dancing. That is for their leader. The leader that is dancing. He has his own mood of wearing the Tija. Then we have Paso. Paso is during farming season. When people goes to farm, you come back, the person that is most strong or the most hardworking person they give him Paso, and that is why they call him Paso. They call that one Paso. That is the leader of the era. We have Itaradu. Itaradu is the champion. If you are going for a festival, or if somebody died, they want to perform some miracles or some things, that one is the one, he's the leader. He will be in the front and everybody will follow him. And anytime he stops, everybody stops.
Our criteria for wealth in those days was to have some ornaments around you, ornaments that depicts wealth. And then it comes it with a white bicycle. Those were a symbol of wealth in the days gone by. And we also had a lot of elderly people that will always gather at certain, places. The shade of a tree, we call that a tree Karagba. Karagba used to provide a shade, very large shade, and it almost sounds like an office in those days. That elderly people would usually gather either in the morning for a meeting or in the evening for discussions. And as young men, we will go around them, they will send you to do one thing or the other for them. And watching them discuss was quite an interesting one in those days. All these things are no longer there today. So it's quite striking. Yeah, there used to be games actually that we used to play. There were games like wrestling. In those days, you cannot cross another hamlet without being involved in wrestling. And then there are times that young people will set themselves up and argue as to who is stronger. And you go out of the place, out just beside the village, get a very good place, particularly sandy place, and then you get involved in wrestling. And then you determine who is stronger and all of that. It can be very interesting. And then there is this other game called Irakoli. You play Koli, this snail shells. You then cut it into a very good round and you play it. And whoever scores by having it, turned upside down, then you then knock it on against the person's hand. It can be interesting and painful too, but those were some of the games. Then we have Irantri. Irantri is a kind of plant called Intri. Very soft. You cut it into bits, and then you use a very sharp-like object, and then you start, hitting one by one and see who gathers more of the Intri. And this Intri, you see them in large and small sizes. Now, the person who will take that smallest one seems to be the best. I can liken Irantri to what is today's game as DAF. DAF. Yes, DAF you play it this way, but this way you play it down. It has a similar kind of intention.
On top, kita ke pok lo bisa.
We have athletics too, call it in athletic running, as to who runs faster. It's one of the games we used to play while growing up. Set up a target, then you run and see who runs faster. We have a tug of life game too, but this tug of life game is not of a group like we have it today. It's an individual. You cross your hand as against the other person's hand and you pull. And all these are to determine who is stronger. I think the essence of our games in those days is to determine who is stronger and who is more skillful.
Mr. Manis, good morning. Oto isi kila lela isi kapi bebe gola. Brother,
Then we have constructions like construction of cars. It's like a game, but it's scientific too and technological. You go gather some objects and start creating cars, and some of us then could be very skillful. You produce a car, and I know of a friend then, one polycarp from Ishugu. He even created a car that we could enter and you'll be pushed around using kopala. What is kopala in Hausa today? I mean in English, bamboo. Yes, bamboo stalks. Very big cars, and you could go inside and people pushing you using wood tires. Off you go in a car.
We have been trying our best to see that the norms and values, the ones that we cherish, are maintained. The ones that are of disadvantage to us, we get rid of them, and since we have to move with the time.
Growing up as a young Migili chap, what is striking to us were the traditional festivals we used to attend in those days. We had, there is this traditional festival of elders who died a year after would be celebrated in a very big style. In fact, that was our Christmas in those days.
Ogu is the most popular play, and it's also a festival. Usually, each year, the Migili people, by this time of the year, they stage Ogu, and it's also associated with what they call Mududu. Each village in its own arrangement will fix a date whereby the other friends of theirs can go to them, and then they display their type of dances that they have. And so the men are involved in Ogu, and Ogu usually, when somebody dies, by the way of honoring him, they will stage Ogu.
Sha, during this Sha festival, that is Beni festival. Beni festival is a culture that we do at the death of an elderly person, a very elderly person that died. we can perform that culture on him. That is, in those days, in our forefathers' days, if an old man is dying in Musha clan, a leopard will come. You hear the sound of leopard coming to the village, crying. So definitely the next day, a very old man will die. That is the reason why we Sha people, we don't eat leopard. The blood doesn't even touch us because we respect it. Because during the war, when we were in Guinea, there's a river called Ishaflo. That place, you will cross to the other side. When we Sha people cross, the leopard was the one that came and cleared the road for our enemies coming. When they came, they couldn't see where we pass again. So we respect leopard. And Sha, Benny, you are saying that song signifies a lot of things. By that song, if you can hear, you will hear words. They will tell you what is happening, what has happened, and what is going to happen. That is the reason why we always perform that culture, Benny culture. It's very, very rich. And it's only Sha people that are doing it. No person can do it. And it's not, there's no any ritual attached to it. No ritual attached to it.
And then we had Irakna festival. This one is a festival that after the farming season, young men and women will come into the Lobe, which is the playground, and there will be a very big festival celebrating the end of farming season. And there is also this Ire Savo. Ire Savo is the celebration of a young lady getting married to a young man. And the young ladies will always do the Isavo dance.
This Irapoku belongs to only the youth. And then Ogu, both the youth and the elders. Then Ira Odu is elders and youth also. But Ira Akwaje, that is coming back from farm. They have finished their digging, all other things. It's for youth. Ajo. Then Ire Shavon is for ladies that are coming up.
In April, May or June, they can arrange so that the stage, what they call Mudu Odu. It is during the Mudu Odu that the masquerade will come out to dance. And ordinarily, when somebody dies, they will stage a goo maybe for a day, or whenever they choose to celebrate what they call Mudu Ija. They also stage a dance, that is the Ogu dance. And during that time, the Odu may come out.
Like me in particular, anything tradition, I don't joke with it. Culture, I don't joke with it. Because like our Sha people, we don't joke with culture and tradition. The Western education will not stop us from performing our culture and traditions. Every year we must do it. We do it in a yearly basis. And before I was installed as a chief, I was told I shouldn't joke with it. There are two things that they told me, the Beni and Mudu Ruba. These two things are very unique in the Migili culture, because that is your miracle, is where you pray and where you can curse anybody and he'll be cursed. So we don't joke with it. So I'm always doing it on yearly basis. And like that of Ruba, we do it by April, May. These are the time that we do it. And our ancestors will definitely hear us what we tell them. We will tell them what is happening. We will tell them what we want, and they will bless us. And it will be blessed. And definitely by that time, after finishing, it must rain. Up to tomorrow, when I will do it, it must rain.
Unfortunately, today, the Migili have decided to leave most of their culture as far as Ogu is concerned. They don't do it as they used to do it in those days. In those days, it was yearly that they stage the Ogu dance, apart from that of honoring somebody when he dies. Today, I don't know when they stage Ogu last in Gida Hausa. Unlike our brothers, the Alago, that do their own yearly, that of Migili, it appears as if they have abandoned it.
Oku Festival in Coronation is a festival of youth when they are preparing towards planting beans and then starting of heaps. So they do the celebration normally late July or very early August, getting ready to enter into proper farming. To a Migili man, this thing has been a very long culture. I was born into it. I met our parents. This culture has been there for a very long time. And it's the time that you know which clan produces the best cocoa in the town. And this is the time that the young men or the boys, from the display of their group, they are able to, corner some of these girls and marry them.
Before they came out, they took their baths, which no woman can see or know how, because it's strictly our ancestors' secret. And in fact, if we don't celebrate this event, the spirit can sanction us as a community.
Cultural marriages in Migili community it's been a simple task over time. In the past, what we were told is that in an event that a woman gives birth and people raise alarm and they shout, neighbors, villagers come to those homes to greet. A man who has male children in his house, on seeing the baby, he can decide to say, I am booking this baby for my son. The little baby can be booked for his son. And in that wise, he takes an evidence. In the olden days, there used to be a coin. This coin that has opening. If you do not have coin, you will bring something symbol that will show that you have gotten the ownership of this baby at this tender age, and you are preserving this child or this baby for your son. When she is fully grown, she's going to marry your son. With that evidence presented, it's an agreement. She becomes his wife at that time. And the father to this man now, who is supposed husband, once in a while, they will be going to this family to pay loyalty as in-laws. At a certain point in time, when they have work in their farm, they can invite this family to go and help them do this work as in-law. So the rituals of helping your in-laws continue even as at that time, until the girl is due for marriage.
For a young man who deserves a lady in another home to be so qualified, first, you must have been able to work under somebody who haven't seen you qualified, that is, haven't served. They now give you opportunity to own your own barn, have your own piece of land, and you start farming on your own. And once you have arrived at age, you are then of age to seek marriage. And the last thing your master or your father will do for you is to get for you a wife. And to be so qualified to be given a lady, you must be able to mobilize your friends to attend to your in-laws' farm.
Where civilization began to increase, and men and women begin to believe that marriages should occur after courtship. And when you have a boy and a girl who have courted themselves to a point of willing to get married, you don't go as the generation today carry the whole lot of people to go for introduction. The Migili introduction is as simple as anything. All you need is to go to find a respected woman from the man's family, a respected woman in the family, that when she talks to people, people respect her words. You go to this woman, tell her your mission. I want this lady. She will come again to get the feedback from the girl's mother. Yes, I have told my husband and he has consented. So whatever we need to do, the marriage procedure begins at that point.
Just with maybe 10 naira, they will take it to the parents. When they take it, they will call the lady Did you like this man? He will say yes. You like him? You say yes. Okay. Now they will say, okay. They will tell you what you will pay, or you'll be farming till when the girl is matured. Then they will give you the bride price. You pay, pick your wife, and go freely.